G'day guys, something a bit different today. I recently went on a road trip to see the big dish at Parks, and naturally I stopped at all the op shops along the way, and I found this book for $2 in Vinnie's. So I thought today we'd take a look at it. This is the Personal Computer Handbook from 1984, I believe, so a bit old. I do really like this book because it does go through what a computer is and how it works, including all the logic, and it does show you some logic gates inside, which is pretty cool. Teaches you about basics, got a few sample programs in there, and just a whole bunch of really cool old stuff in there. It shows things like the old IBM computers, and even the TRS-80 pocket computer, which was pretty neat. It ran a very simple BASIC on it. These days, a lot of the screens have failed, so if you see them on eBay, they're fairly cheap still, less than $100. But yeah, the screens do fail on it, unfortunately. I believe this is the ultra portable Osborne. It weighs a ton. It looks like a big old suitcase and it's got a tiny little screen. But back in the day, it was pretty neat. Obviously got the Commodore 64 and the old Apple II. It even goes over networks, which is pretty neat if you had a network system back in the 80s. Goes through what's inside the old ZX Spectrum, which is pretty cool. Gives you a breakdown of the Apple IIe as well. Got a section on computer programs and 3D cues, which I guess back in the day would have been pretty neat if you could do that pretty fast. Brief history, adders, abacus and all that stuff. Mechanical computers. And now we get to beginning computing. How to connect your first computer up. Pretty simple. You got BASIC, obviously, which was pretty much the main consumer programming language back in the day. Cassette loading and saving, you don't see that anymore. 5 1/4 inch floppies, which would have been fairly new at the time. I think 7 or 8 inch were the standard before that. Goes over basic debugging. And we're on to how computers work. So you get the logic gates and binary, tells you all about that. Got the ASCII lookup table, which is pretty cool. I think most people that were using computers back in the day would have had this memorized. Got your different logic gates, exclusive OR, ANDs. Circuit diagrams on how they're created. This is an adder. So it shows you how to make an adder and how they count. Tells you about the address bus, all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very cool if you need to learn about that. Onto hardware now. It's got a bit of a section on the old Z80, which was a big player back in the day. I believe they're still making it today, or clones of it anyway. You can still buy them. They were used in a lot of devices, which is pretty cool. The 6502, seen in the NES and the Commodore 64, I believe. 8088, the old IBM. Teaches you how the silicon dies are made. The old green phosphor monitors, they were pretty good. It's got the old Atari cartridge, it looks like. And obviously the tape decks for saving and loading games and programs. The big 5 1/4 inch drives. It does mention 3 1/2 inch, which is interesting. Didn't realize they were big back in the early 80s. I didn't think they were a thing back then, but apparently they were. Big old hard drives. The old dot matrix printer with the reams of paper, and they're all perforated so you can tear them off. And I had the guidelines as well, pretty neat. Modems, pretty good. The old ones used to have acoustic coupling, so you'd have to put the phone on the modem for it to dial. And then obviously later on you had the speakers and everything built in to the modem. You got a whole section on basic programming. Got a whole page on arrays, which is pretty handy. Got a roulette game, if you wanted to hand type all that. More information on debugging. We've got some computer games. They were just mentioning that producing television quality images are not possible yet on microcomputers, but research is being carried out. So that's pretty funny. You got assembly. You got C. It goes over a fair few different programming languages, not just basic. Section on CPM. Databases, not very fun. Spreadsheets, not very interesting. MicroWriter is a series of inputs to quickly type in words. That didn't catch on. A section on the future of computing. It even mentions AI, which is pretty neat. If only they knew. Home computers, interactive TV, audio CDs, video discs. Mentions Xerox networking. And finally, the buying guide. How to tell which computer is right for you. Gives you all the specs of the current Apple computers at the time. Apple 1, Apple II, 2E, 3. The Lisa, which was a big deal back in the day. You got IBM computers. I wonder if it's going to mention IBM compatibles. It did not. We got the Sinclairs with the horrible keyboards, but they were made to a price point, so they succeeded in that. Commodores, you got the PET, the VIC-20, 64 obviously. And the TRS-80s. Color computer. That's pretty cool. Model 100, little portable one. Atari home computers. Not as popular, obviously. And you've got all the other sort of niche computers. Aquarius, Apricot, the BBC Micro, Dragon 32. That's a neat looking one with this little joystick. Z80. Epson. The Lynx, not to be confused with the Atari Lynx. I think we had one of these not too long ago. The Sharp PC 1500. That looks like a point of sale system. And finally, the TI-99. I think it was a pretty interesting book. Definitely worth a read. Not sure if it's online or not. If you want any specific photos out of it, let me know and I'll try do my best to upload it. I don't think I'll be able to do the entire book. That might take too long. But if you have any questions, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.